Welcome to Cheat Confessions. Let's get started with today's story. She texted me at 2 in the morning from her bachelorette party, drunk, rambling, confessing. Said it was an accident. Said it meant nothing. Said please don't be mad. And I lay there in the dark reading those words, and something in me went completely still. Not angry. Not devastated. Just decided. By morning, everyone who needed to know, knew. My name is Mike. And this is the story of what happens when you stop absorbing other people's choices and start responding to them honestly. Jessica and I had been together for 4 years. Engaged for 8 months. The wedding was 2 weeks away, venue booked, vendors paid, invitations sent, families already flying in from across the country. $45,000 poured into a single day that was supposed to be the beginning of the rest of our lives. She went to Las Vegas for her bachelorette weekend. I stayed home. Trusted her completely. Then came the text. Mike, are you awake? I messed up. Please don't be mad. I'm so drunk. It just happened. I accidentally slept with someone. It meant nothing. I love you. Please say we're okay. I read it once. Then again. I set the phone down on the nightstand and stared at the ceiling for a long time. She used the word accidentally. Like she had tripped. Like she had spilled something. Like sleep had overtaken her without warning in a room that happened to contain another man. People don't accidentally end up in bed with someone. They make choices, a series of small, deliberate choices that lead somewhere. She made those choices. Every single one. And then she sent me a message asking if we were okay, as though the word accident could absorb the full weight of what she had done. I picked up my phone. Not to reply to her. To draft an email. I kept it short. I kept it honest. Dear friends and family, the wedding is cancelled. My fiancé accidentally slept with someone at her bachelorette party. Unfortunately, his accident means everything. Accidents happen. I sent it to everyone on the wedding guest list. Her family. My family. Colleagues. Friends. Everyone who had received an invitation. Everyone who had made plans, booked flights, bought gifts, cleared their calendars. I pressed send and went to sleep. By the time Jessica landed back in the city, her phone had 300 notifications. Her boss had seen it. Her grandmother had seen it. Her college friends had seen it. Her parents, who had contributed significantly to the wedding fund, had seen it. She came straight to my apartment. I had already changed the locks. She stood at the door and told me I had lost my mind. That I had humiliated her. That my behavior was completely out of line. I told her she had been honest for once. That the text she sent was the most truthful thing she had said in whatever period this had been going on. She said it was a mistake. That she was drunk. That it meant nothing. I told her it wasn't a mistake. It was a choice. You don't accidentally end up in bed with someone. You make decisions, each one a little further down a road you chose to walk. And at the end of that road, you sent me a text asking if we were okay. She called me cold. I told her I had packed her things. That everything clearly belonging to her was by the door. That she had 5 minutes before I called the police. She left. Not quietly. Not without argument. But she left. Her father arrived the next morning. He was the kind of man who expected things to bend when he pushed them. He walked into the conversation already angry, already certain he was right, already holding a list of grievances he intended to deliver like a verdict. He told me what I had done was completely out of line. That the email went to family, to colleagues, to people who had nothing to do with what happened. That I had humiliated his daughter. That I had humiliated all of them. I told him I had told the truth. That was all I had done. He said it was a private matter. I said she made it private when she slept with someone 2 weeks before our wedding. She made it everyone's business when she sent me a drunk confession asking if we were okay. He told me I was going to fix it. That I would send another email. That I would apologize and take responsibility. I told him no. He said they expected their money back. Every dollar they had contributed to the wedding, returned. I told him the deposits were gone. The vendors had kept them per the contracts. He knew how those agreements worked. He said that wasn't their problem. that I had cancelled the wedding. I told him I cancelled it because his daughter slept with someone else 2 weeks before the ceremony. He said I was making a bigger mess than I realized. I told him I was cleaning one up. He said I would regret handling it this way. I told him I had already made peace with it, and I said good night. He didn't leave immediately. He stood there looking at me like he expected something. Surrender, maybe, or at least the kind of discomfort that would give him leverage. He didn't find it. Eventually, he walked back to his car. Jessica came back the next day with her mother. Tried to come inside. I had already spoken to my building about it. She no longer had access. She stood in the hallway and asked how I could do this to her after everything she had done for me. I told her I was responding to what she had done. That was all. My mother called me that evening. Jessica's mother had called her first, told her I was the one who had been cheating, that I had made the whole story up, that the email was a fabrication designed to humiliate Jessica and destroy her reputation. My mother listened to all of it. Then she told me she didn't believe a word. "That's not my son," she said. But she wanted to hear it from me directly. I told her everything. Showed her the text, time-stamped, in Jessica's own words, her own handwriting, her own voice asking me not to be mad and telling me it had just happened. My mother was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "That says everything I need to know about them." She told me I had done the right thing, that I didn't lie, didn't hide it, didn't let them walk over me, that it took strength. I told her I wasn't going to stay quiet about something like this. She said I shouldn't. And she said something that stayed with me, that I had lost money and lost time, but I hadn't lost myself. And that mattered more than anything else. She told me if they tried anything, lawyers, stories, pressure campaigns, they would deal with all of us. I told her I could handle it. She said she knew. But I didn't have to do it alone. I hadn't realized how much I needed to hear that until she said it. They filed defamation, emotional distress, public humiliation, $15,000 in wedding contributions returned, $50,000 in additional damages. Their lawyer was pushing hard, apparently confident that the threat alone would be enough to make me settle quietly and go away. I called my attorney the same day. She reviewed the case in about 20 minutes and looked up from her notes with an expression that was somewhere between professional satisfaction and genuine amusement. She said the truth was my strongest defense, that everything in the email was sourced directly from Jessica's own confession, time-stamped, in her own words, sent voluntarily from her own phone at 2 in the morning. I still had the original text. I had never deleted it. She outlined our counterclaim. $30,000 in documented losses from cancelled vendor deposits. Additional damages for harassment and defamation, because attempting to tell my mother I had fabricated the entire affair qualified. And a demand for all call and text records from the Las Vegas trip. She made it clear in the letter to their attorney, if they wanted a trial, Jessica's drunk confession would go directly into evidence. The full guest list email would be entered as documentation of the truth I had communicated. The phone records from Vegas would be subpoenaed. Every detail would become public record. Their reputations, she said, would not survive discovery. I told her to file the counterclaim and not to accept any settlement that didn't include full withdrawal and a written apology to my family. They started this, I said. I'm ending it. She had the paperwork filed by end of day. She called me 3 days after the counterclaim was filed. She said her parents were scared, that their lawyer had told them I actually had a strong case, that I was going to bankrupt them. I told her they should be scared. They had tried to sue me for telling the truth. They had called my mother and told her I was the one who cheated. They had sent a lawyer after a man whose only act had been forwarding his fiancée's own confession to the people affected by it. She said I was ruining her life, that everyone knew what had happened because of the email, that her boss had called her in, that her grandmother wouldn't speak to her. I told her I hadn't ruined her life. She had made the choices that produced those consequences. I had just made sure the people who had invested their time and money and attendance into a wedding understood exactly why it wasn't happening. She said it was one night, that it meant nothing, that she had been drunk and it was a stupid accident. I let the word hang in the air between us for a second. And that's all it took, I said. One night to throw away everything we had. One night to throw away 4 years and $45,000 and my trust. You made your choice. Now live with it. I told her to talk to her lawyer. That the clock was running, 48 hours to address the counterclaim, or we would proceed to full discovery. She said my name like it was a question. I told her good night. There was one moment in all of this that almost made me laugh. When Jessica came to collect her belongings, her mother was with her. Everything clearly hers had already been packed and placed by the door. Organized, labeled, ready to go. Then Jessica noticed the espresso machine still inside. She said it was hers. I said we had bought it together. That I had paid the larger portion of it. Her mother, apparently finding this the most outrageous moment of the entire situation, threw her hands up and asked if I was seriously going to fight over a coffee machine. I told her I wasn't fighting. I was keeping what I had paid for. The police were there. Jessica's mother had called them, apparently expecting them to force me to hand over the apartment to a woman whose name was not on the lease and who had no legal claim to any of it. The officer was patient and clear. He asked whose name was on the lease. Mine. He asked if Jessica lived there legally, if her name was on any agreement. It wasn't. He told her she had her belongings and should take them. He told her mother the espresso machine was a shared property dispute to be resolved in civil court, not on the doorstep at 9 in the morning. Jessica's mother looked like she had more to say. The officer looked like he had heard all of it before. They left. I made myself a coffee and went back inside. The lawsuit was withdrawn 6 weeks later. Full withdrawal. No settlement. A written acknowledgement sent to my attorney that the claims had been dropped. No apology. Their lawyer advised against it, apparently, because an apology would constitute an admission. But the withdrawal itself was enough. The $45,000 in deposits was gone. That money was never coming back. The vendors had earned it, the contracts were clear, and the cancellation was real regardless of who caused it. I had lost 4 years of a relationship I had genuinely believed in. I had lost the version of a future I had been planning toward. But I hadn't lost my name. Hadn't lost my integrity. Hadn't swallowed a story designed to make me the problem so that someone else could avoid being the cause. Jessica tried to contact me once more after the withdrawal. A long message, more measured than anything she had sent before. She said she understood now why I had done what I did. That she hadn't expected the consequences to reach as far as they had. That she wished things had gone differently. I read it once, then put my phone away. There are things worth responding to and things that have simply run their course. That message was the second kind. There was nothing left to say, not because I was still angry, but because the chapter was genuinely closed. She had made her choices. I had responded to them honestly. The legal system had confirmed I was within my rights. The truth had held up to scrutiny and legal challenge and an attempted reputation campaign and a lawsuit. It had held up because it was true. People told me afterward that I should have handled it privately. That the email was excessive. That I could have canceled the wedding without broadcasting the reason to 200 people. Maybe. But here's what I know. $45,000 had been spent by 2 families. Flights were booked. Hotels were reserved. People had taken time off work and made arrangements and cleared their schedules for a day they had been invited to celebrate. They deserved to know the real reason it wasn't happening. Not a vague announcement about the couple growing apart, not a mutual decision, not some version of the story designed to protect the person who had made the choice that ended it. I told the truth. Clearly, simply, with her own words attached. And when they tried to punish me for it, when they filed a lawsuit to make truth expensive, I didn't back down. I filed back. I let a court process determine what the evidence actually showed. And when the evidence was her own time-stamped text message, sent voluntarily, at 2 in the morning, asking me not to be angry about what she had done, there was nothing for them to stand on. Peace is expensive, I wrote to my attorney when it was over. Worth it, she wrote back. My mother called to say she was proud. I told her I was just responding to what happened. She said sometimes that's exactly what strength looks like. Not a performance, not a speech, not a dramatic confrontation. Just a decision, made clearly, carried through completely, without apology. I thought about that for a while. She was right. I lost money. I lost time. I lost a version of the future I had believed in completely. But I didn't stay quiet about something I didn't cause. I didn't let someone else's choice become my shame to carry alone. I didn't pretend nothing happened so that the person who did something could walk away clean. I just told the truth. And the truth, as it turned out, was the strongest thing I had. Thank you for watching.